Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Metropolitan Republican Club's webinar series. My name is Krisha Lenzo, and on behalf of the Met Club board, we're so happy to have you join us this evening. As a reminder, we have a donation link in our live chat, and we hope you'll consider making a contribution to our club during this critical time. We want to keep getting the information to you with some of the world's thought leaders that we need right now. So speaking of thought leaders, I have Resmo Martinez, who serves as the outreach director at Parler. He's joining us this evening. In his role, Resmo assists high-profile public figures, publications, businesses, and nonprofits with their needs as they grow within the Parler community. So prior to joining Parler in July 2020, Resmo was the official social media coordinator at the Washington Times, where he oversaw audience engagement and managed the social media presence of the national publication. Resmo also hosts several podcasts and has published 2 books, Stay Away from the Libertarians, which is a comedic history of the modern libertarian movement, and his debut novel, How to Succeed in Politics and Other Forms of Devil Worship. But Resmo was inspired to work at Parler because of this unique opportunity and perspective that they bring to the table in the world of social media. He recognizes that a platform like Parler is critical and so necessary at this moment. It's a paradigm shift for the future, and we're very excited that we have a great opportunity here with Parler to really make a movement where we're not censored at this moment. So welcome, Resmo.
Hey, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me tonight.
Of course, we are honored to have you. So just wanted to start off, how did you get involved in Parler? I gave a little bit of your background, but if you could explain more, what drew you to this new social media app and platform, and what are you doing right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a child of the social media era, like you and many other people that are watching tonight. And in college, I got my start in campaign politics as an intern, a staffer, and eventually a political consultant. And I began to see certain behavior in terms of how the political conversation, how content was being curated online. From there, I got into the media, did a few years freelance, and then eventually got to control all the accounts for the Washington Times. It was one of the coolest jobs I ever had. And, we live in an age now where information is ready and conversation is even readier. People wanted to go ahead and engage. People want to learn. People want to actually understand the world around them. But what started to bother me was when Facebook started throwing fact checkers on stories, when Facebook started throttling content, when Facebook started going ahead and using AI algorithms to determine what people wanted to see and what they didn't want to see, because they thought if they took the humans away from it, it wouldn't create a problem. But what they did was they established something called algorithmic bias, which basically means that the algorithms that you see are basically a reflection of the person that created them. So what is right and wrong? What is good and bad? What is lawful and what is unlawful? What is hate speech and what's not? It became a very difficult time for not just indie media where I originally started, but for mainstream media. I mean, the Washington Times is a very center-right outlet. No one ever looks at us and says, right-wing extremists. That's what we were thinking at the time. We're like, we want to do everything right, and we want to spend money, and we want to, curate this audience. But it got to the point where, if we wanted to go ahead and deal with Facebook or Twitter directly, it was not a normal business relationship. Now, if you run a business and you ignore your customers and you don't treat them with respect and you're openly doing things that are harming them, that doesn't really bode well with me. I don't think if you went to Subway and they made you wait 20 minutes in line, then they showed up and said, oh, we'll be back to you in like a few years and have you consider making your own sandwich, you'd probably go elsewhere.
Right.
So it got to the point where I just realized right now I have to make a choice. I can either consider this just part of the problem, or I can try and, maybe make a difference. But in January of 2019, I started up the Washington Times opinion page on Parler, and I had no expectations. I had no budget. But over time, getting to learn what the staff of the company were like, getting to understand the company's mission and what made them genuinely different from the other platforms, I realized we're not dealing with a clone of that or a copy of this. We're dealing with an actual paradigm shift. And, by the time I left, I had around 350,000 followers on that account. Now it still continues to grow. It's going to hit 500,000. And, in July, when I got the offer to come to Parler and become the outreach coordinator, I saw this as an opportunity to reach out to people that really don't know who we are. people that aren't willing to break the habits that they have developed on these other platforms. Go ahead and actually engage with them so that when they have a question, they can talk to an actual person. Things like that became incredibly apparent. And now, instead of just, witnessing what is going on in the world of big tech and social media and our culture at large, I don't just get to be a bystander. I actually get to be a part of the solution for it. And that's ultimately what Parler is. We're a paradigm shift in the world of the internet. And that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing. And that's where we're going to continue to grow. So I don't just see this as my job. I see this as, something I'm incredibly passionate about. And I can say the same thing for everyone else with the company. This is not something that you do unless you truly believe in the cause of freedom, of data privacy, of free speech, of having an equal platform for people. So when we say we're serious, we're not just saying it. We're actually delivering on our promises.
So right now, as you mentioned, everyone's so accustomed to these platforms that we all know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. But what are you doing now to really change people's mindset and get them to move over to Parler and to try something new and break out of their own, with their habits?
One thing I really love about my job isn't just the real, important people I get to meet. I get to meet some fantastic people, but what I really appreciate is getting to work with small businesses. Mm-hmm. I remember at the beginning of the social media era, for many small businesses, that, that account on Facebook or that Twitter account, that could have been the difference between them succeeding and them having to go ahead and burn thousands of dollars on other traditional media that wasn't necessarily helping them. The ability to go viral and create content, the ability to go ahead and be creative in the way that you're crafting your content. It was incredibly important. But then there began a shift. People stopped being treated as people and they started being treated as digital property. And right now, one of the things that people really love about Parler is the fact that we're not choosing winners and losers in terms of the content that you go ahead and create, whether it's an outbound link, a video, or YouTube link, whatever it is. The only people who should be determining whether it succeeds or not are the members of the Parler community, not us, not anyone else. If something is good, it deserves to succeed. If something's, not being engaged upon, maybe we should reevaluate it, but you should immediately know. So the ability to go ahead and create an account, engage with members of the Parler community, have stuff go crazy viral just because it's genuinely good and because people genuinely like it. Getting that opportunity to return people a little piece of their freedom again is amazing, especially for small businesses in the time of COVID. I mean, when I was in media, we got hit, but we could still work and everything. Small Business America didn't get that opportunity. Small Business America was having to really, come up with the solutions, just how to keep the lights on, how to keep your employees paid. So the opportunity to work with them, to go ahead and get them situated with all the tools, all the features, all the exclusive opportunities that we're able to bring in for serious people, getting to work with them in a platform that treats them like everybody else, which is fair and equal. That's the big difference. It's a mindset change.
And I think that's what people want. They just want equal opportunity to express their views. And I think that's so critical and why Parler has been doing so well. Everyone's very impressed with it. But for those who might not be as familiar, can you tell us a little bit more about your terms of service and, what happens, on the platform just with respect to oversight?
So what we want to do is we want to make it so that people can actually read the terms of service and understand it. Okay. Much like politicians not reading those giant bills. I don't think you or I have ever actually read those iTunes terms and conditions. I'm willing to go ahead and go on the record and say I never did that when I had to update my phone. When it comes to social media, two big things. You want to know what they actually have to gain out of it, because ultimately this app is free, but what do we do? In social media right now, what you'll see is that, people buy ads, but what are they really buying on other platforms typically? They're not really in the advertising business. What they're doing is they're in the big data business. What they're doing is they're collecting and mining and packaging together and repackaging and creating these Frankenstein monster systems to just target you with nonstop stuff. Because when the product is free, ultimately you're the product. I think I saw something in a documentary recently. The two industries that call their clients users are drug dealers and social media. And it's funny to say, but ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to change that, because Parler members are members. They're not users. They're people. They're flesh and blood people with their own desires, their own lives, and their own interests. So what we do is we don't go ahead mining their data. We don't collect that data. We don't know who you are at all, really. We don't know where you're from, because ultimately what we've just tried to create is a platform where people can engage free and equal. So what you'll see in our terms of service is that we take one of the strongest data privacy stances that you'll probably see in any company within the tech sector. That's one. But in terms of free speech, we stand firm with the concept of the First Amendment, which is free speech should be protected. As long as you're not harming people, as long as you're not doing anything that could be considered unlawful, you can go ahead and have your opinions. If they're unpopular, they're unpopular. If they're popular, they are. If they're right, they're wrong. We should have a discussion on that. In media, there used to be a company that went ahead and said that, sunlight is what goes ahead and brings truth out of darkness or something like that. And ultimately, we believe that sunlight's the best disinfectant. You should know what people are saying. You should know whether you agree with somebody or not. But that's the thing. You should know. And nobody should get in your way of discovering that, because your opinions, your thoughts, your stances are yours. They shouldn't be determined, preset by anybody else. So, we have that, and we try and keep it as cut and clear as possible, because we're not in the editorial business. We're in the business of social media, and that's about it. We're a free app where you can talk, and we sell ads. We're keeping it simple.
That's exactly, how we feel as well at the Met Club. We believe transparency is so critical, at this moment. And it's shocking when people on the other side also don't believe in freedom of speech. How are you trying to appeal right now? As we know, Parler tends to be more conservative, just given the space right now in social media more generally. But how are you trying to appeal to get other users on the platform who might not be of the conservative bent?
Well, the first thing I kind of want to reiterate is that what sets Parler apart from its competitors is the freedom that we give our members. And we really want to emphasize that. We give them freedom while also maintaining their privacy. We're not studying them. We're not probing them beyond the scope of information they readily provide us. Everything is consented to. And from there, it kind of builds this platform of who can come here. And ultimately, Parler's for everybody. When we came in, we were filling a void in the social media space. And that's the beautiful thing about free markets. As people who, really look at the virtues of free enterprise and capitalism, we understand that the best thing you can provide people is choice. Look at what the problem is. Look at what they want. Look at what they like, and go ahead and package them a product that is so good and a service that is so much superior that they can obviously see the ready choice in front of them. And at the time, it happened to be because of, companies and staff that were, taking pretty nefarious practices and targeting people of certain beliefs. So how we start isn't necessarily how we want to be. People say that we're trying to create an echo chamber or something, but really it's just based off who's there. If you had 1 million liberals join overnight, it would probably be different. Sure. But that's the thing. We don't determine that. We're not telling people, who can come and who can't come. It's a free app, so anyone can join, and ultimately everyone is treated equally. If we've got everyone from Kimberly Guilfoyle on there to Ben Stein, and I would treat them, and they would be treated the exact same way as a Louis Farrakhan or an AOC, who I invite to come on Parler, and I would personally help you get your account set up, and I would walk you through how it works and get you a verified gold badge, because ultimately you're a member. You have a right to be heard. You have the right to a platform. And as long as you're being civil and you're engaging with people, have at it. So what we're trying to be is a platform for everybody. How we started is not how we'll be 10 years from now. But that's the beautiful thing about spontaneous order. It's the fact that we don't have to determine that. The market can determine that based off the Parler members. We just have to provide the service and the product that's meant to keep it going.
For sure. And obviously, Maria Bartiromo has been a huge supporter of you guys, especially since she was censored herself at one point. And as we even saw today, if you even like President Trump's tweet now, you get a notification that comes up on some of his respective tweets. So that is also pretty scary. I think that the censorship is getting worse and worse by the day. But what are you doing to try to grow your membership? Parler, it seems to be, it's been going viral. I mean, everyone's joining. But what are you doing to keep that momentum going?
Ultimately, the best advocate for Parler isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our CEO, John Mates. It's no one actually who works for Parler. The best advocates for Parler are coming from the Parler community. The people that are getting, hashtags like Twexit and Erasebook trending, Transparency 2020 trending.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do it because people are ultimately seeing that the product is good because the foundations are cut and clear and strong. So ultimately, what people are going to see is that, as the mainstream media and as people try and just continue to attack us with smears and lies, it's going to make people more interested. Because I don't know if you're like this, but when people tell me not to do something and they don't really give me a reason why, it kind of makes me want to do it.
Totally.
Just saying. So what we're seeing right now is that we're having people across the ideological spectrum. People transcending borders, people transcending religion, and all these other, taglines that we like to throw on each other. And they're coming in and they're seeing it. And here's the cool thing about it. They're staying because it works. Yeah. So whether you're an artist, a content creator, whether you're a gamer or an athlete, whether you're a celebrity or just a regular person that likes to have fun and learn stuff, and you need a quick distraction so you can engage with people and see what's going on, the people are ultimately the ones making us on top of those trending charts. The people are the ones that are joining in droves and telling their friends. Because, as somebody that was in marketing and advertising, I can spend X amount of money on radio, X amount of money on billboards, everything. But you know what costs more than any of that? Word of mouth and trust. Because when people actually believe in the product, they will go out and they don't need to sell it for you. They just go ahead and talk about it because they genuinely like it and their friends get involved. So the Parler community is ultimately what's driving us forward.
Oh, hands down. And that's how I found out about Parler. I found out through a friend. And that's also why we wanted to speak to you today, because we want to activate our membership and just make this, this growth happen even more. And so with that, if you could kind of show us maybe how we could use the app and what are the best practices and, ways of echoing and getting engaged with the community. I think we could see that on your screen.
Okay, I can do that now. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that. So right now, well, we've got, can you see this all right?
Yeah, I can see it. It looks great.
So right now I'm at the Parler page.
Okay.
And what you see is that we've got pretty clean user interface. What we have right here is your standard account section. And what we have is something called parlays. Parlays are what we call posts. We have our own lingo because we're our own thing. So when you create something, you're creating a parlay. And then, let's say, oh, here's a cool press release from a couple weeks ago. It's a letter from our CEO, John Mates.
Mm-hmm.
I already echoed that, but let's see. Yeah. Let's go to Ben Stein. He's one of my favorite accounts on here.
Cool.
Everyone loves Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Bueller.
Where are you, Ben? Yep, there you are. Sometimes that's a little bit sticky. So right now I'm on Ben Stein's page.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and let me see. Okay. Oh, there's a story I like. What he does is he does what he would do really anywhere else. He wanted to throw some hashtags on there. He copy and paste a story he's interested. I kind of like it. So I'm going to go ahead and upvote this. The upvote just means, hey, I saw your content and I like it. But what do I want to do if I really love it? What I can do is I can go ahead and echo it. Echoing it shares it to your page. So what I'm going to do, let me see. I'm going to say, what do you think about this? If I can learn what caps are, that would be great. You think about this. So I'm going to just go ahead and echo it with the content. Sure. You have 1,000 character limit right there. One thing that you can also do is if, let's say I'm posting, let's say I'm a journalist and I'm a war journalist. And I've got friends who are war journalists, and sometimes their content is a little bit on the side of it's just a little bit obscene. It's violent.
Sure. Yeah,
work. You don't want to do it. I can actually go here and I can mark it as sensitive content. So that way, if you want to go ahead and look at it, you can click on the image and you can see the image. But there's nothing sensitive about this. So what I did was I put my comment there. I'm going to go ahead and parlay it.
Okay.
So I went ahead and did that. Let's go to my account right now.
Yeah.
You could follow me at just Remso. If you ever see Remso 2 pop up, let me know. But what that did right now is it went ahead and it echoed the original parlay and it went ahead and provided my comment there. So let's say I go back. Let's say I want to go ahead and see what other people are doing. As you're kind of seeing right now, it's pretty basic. But let's go back. I want to see what people are talking about. And right there, what you've got is you've got a whole bunch of comments. You can go ahead and say, thanks for sharing, Ben. If I wanted to go ahead and post an emoji there, if I wanted to go ahead and put, okay, I've got a funny question. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
No, please.
Is this a GIF or a GIF?
So I think the founder of Jiffy calls it GIF.
Okay, we'll call it a GIF.
I've heard it with a hard G as well. So we'll say they're both acceptable pronunciations.
So let's go ahead and pull up a GIF.
Let's say GIF for now.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I want to go ahead and do that. I didn't even know that was there, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was there either.
Embarrassing. So yeah, what I'm going to do, and it gives me a preview so I could see how this happened. So thanks for sharing, Ben. There's my comment, and then there's my GIF. I'm going to go ahead and reply. So that's that. And like everything else, I've got my feed of people I follow. I can go ahead and see what's going on from the people that I enjoy.
Right.
Oh, here's Dr. Amy Peikoff, our Chief Policy Officer. I'm going to go ahead and actually give her an echo there because she's awesome. Now, let's say I want to go ahead and find new stuff.
Right.
Where do I go? Oh, and by the way, you got your notifications bell because everyone needs notifications. So my internet were a little bit faster.
That's okay. We get what you're doing.
Anyway, so so over there's the notification bell, but here's the Discover page. This is where we go ahead and, and it took me back to comments. So right now I've got everyone who's commenting on my stuff.
Got it.
I will never get to in a million years. And let's see, I went to the Discover page. So you can see parlays that are doing really well. So just organic posts of people that are getting a lot of engagement and posting cool original content. There's some stuff over from Cliff Maloney Jr., President of Young Americans for Liberty. You've got a great documentary series from Free the People that's coming out. You got The Blaze. And you've just got regular people here that are posting, interesting stuff that the community likes. So we want to make it so that people know that you don't have to be somebody giant and big to get featured in the Discover page. If you're just engaging and putting out worthwhile content, it's amazing what shows up here. But you've also got the suggested hashtag section, and over here you've got separated into different segregated categories. So parlays, affiliates, people who have an RSS feed attached, so you can go ahead and find just news if you just want to go ahead and do that. So you've got stuff from the Post Millennial and National Review. You can go ahead and find people who based off who you're following, this will go ahead and give you some recommendations of awesome folks. We've got a direct message feature, which I won't show because of that.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, that's great. And then, so can you also mention the red? What's
that's crazy.
No, it's okay. What's denoted the red? What does that mean? It means they're verified, or?
Yeah. So what we have right now, we take user protection very seriously, and we want to maintain this as an environment for human beings and not bots. So everyone gets a badge or multiple badges if you want to go ahead and submit for them or if you qualify for them. So let's take a look at my badges.
Yeah.
I got this when I was but a wee lad on Parler at the beginning. This was just something that was given out to the first couple thousand of people that joined very early on in 2018 to make them feel special and know. The verified real user badge lets people know that you're an actual human being. It doesn't necessarily confirm who you say you are because people can use pseudonyms or, code words, superhero language, I don't know, but it just lets people know that you're real. And with this, what you're able to do is stuff that we want to really reserve for real people. You can direct message people. I don't know about you, but the last thing I want is to look into my inbox and see a whole bunch of spam and other stuff from there from people that might not even be actual people.
Sure.
So, everyone can apply for the red badge. It's super easy. What you do is you go over to your Parler menu down there. And you go ahead and hit the verification tab, and usually it's up pretty lickety split.
Got it. Interesting. And we already have people writing in saying they're signing up right now.
That's awesome.
So yeah, totally. So I guess my next question is, we're going to be on Parler. We're going to be echoing. We're going to be hashtagging. What else can we do to drive people?
So first off, do you mind if I click out of here?
We can just, we're done with our demo portion.
Awesome. We can go back there. Now we're back with the infinity.
Back with our infinity hands.
Awesome. Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, as I mentioned earlier, that word of mouth speaks. There's no price on it. It costs nothing. That word of mouth really relays something which we think represents the Parler community, which is trust. Because if you trust somebody and you trust their opinion on this, they're going to believe you and they might take that next step. Also, promoting it on other social media, that also helps, including in your newsletter. If people can hear it, if people can see it, it's amazing the ways you can let them know. Or you can just go ahead and go to the App Store and just go ahead and search Parler and we'll pop right up.
Totally. And that's the whole point of all of this, is that people want to feel like they are involved in a community and a membership where they can trust others. Unlike the mainstream media, there's a lot of distrust right now. And I think you see that with the apps that are popping up on the App Store. The first couple of apps, it's now Newsmax, it's now Parler, it's now other alternatives to Facebook. People just don't trust big tech or the mainstream media. So you really are part of the solution, Remso, with Parler.
And I mean, I can't take credit for this at all. It's a team effort. And that might sound corny, but really, we've got a 24/7 support team. Mm-hmm. We have engineers and developers who are way smarter than me and way more, resourceful than me. And they're working tirelessly. We've got a full-time marketing team and we've got staff that really, this is their 24/7 job. It's their life. Mm-hmm. And we do it not just because we're a business and we need to, pay the bills, but because we genuinely believe in this. And this is something I really want to go ahead and, before, BP, before the plague, we used to be able to go, and I did college speaking tours. I used to go speak in person with, actual, locations. There used to be this thing called bar meetups, and it was fun with, with other Republican and libertarian groups and other nonprofits. And I mean, it's gotten to the point now where, it might sound kind of cheesy, but, Bob Marley is one of my favorite musicians. He used to say, like, you're the power, man. Yeah. Like, ultimately, you can only vote away or vote in so much. The ultimate power is your time and your money and your voice. And if you truly believe in something, you should put your money and your time and your voice where you actually believe it's being used. And that's what we've done. But the only reason why we're succeeding is because of the Parler members. The community is why it's thriving. The community is why, we're in this marathon for a long time going forward. And ultimately, it's because of them. So it's never just me. It's a we situation. And I get to work with some of the brightest, smartest, most talented people I've ever met in my professional career every day.
Remso, you're so inspiring and amazing. How can we find you again on Parler?
You can just go ahead and find me at Remso, REMSO. And please go ahead and follow our CEO, John Mates. He's just at John, and check out just at Parler for all the news and developments and everything you really need to know.
For sure. And for small businesses too, a lot of our Met Club members are small business owners.
Do me a favor. Yeah. So you can find me on any social media. I don't like giving my personal email out, but if you find me at just at Remso on Parler, or you find me at Hey Remso on Twitter, just go ahead and send me a direct message. I do check my inbox. We'll go ahead and set up a time. If you're a nonprofit, if you're a student newspaper, if you're a radio program, if you're a business, if you want to go ahead and learn how to actually grow your brand, grow your organization, if you're interested in advertising, if you're interested in any of our features, just message me. We'll set up a time and a call, and we'll get something on the books in the near future, and we'll get you going strong from there.
Thank you so much. You can really tell this is a real human connection. It's not algorithms, and that's why we're sending people your way. And we hope after tonight, after our conversation, we'll have a lot more Parler users. But I certainly really love the platform, and I'm sure everyone else will too. So
yeah, and we love having you. And please, for anyone, just reach out to me or any other staff, and we'll take care of you. Because ultimately, you're a human being. You're not digital livestock. And this is a community. It's not just another platform. So I'm happy to be part of it, and I'm extremely happy to have all of you part of it. Really.
Thank you, Remso. And on that note, stay well, everyone. Join Parler. Take care. Have a good night.